The sky above New York was red. Not the red of sunset, but the red of burning buildings and alien weapons. Jake Morrison crouched behind a pile of broken concrete and steel. His rifle felt heavy in his hands. Around him, the last humans on Earth were dying. "Commander, they're coming from the east." Lisa Carter shouted over the noise of battle. She was 20 feet away, fixing a broken defense gun. Her hands shook as she worked, but her voice stayed strong. Jake looked through his scope. The aliens moved like giant insects across the ruined street. Their black armor gleamed in the firelight. The Cytherians had been hunting humans for 30 years. Now, only a few hundred people were left alive on the whole planet. "Danny, how many wounded?" Jake called to the medic. Danny Brooks looked up. From a dying soldier. Blood covered his hands and clothes. "Too many, sir. We're running out of medicine." The ground shook as another alien bomb exploded nearby. Dust and rocks fell from the sky. Jake wiped dirt from his eyes and kept watching the enemy. They were getting closer. "Amy, what's our ammunition count?" he asked. Amy Stone checked her tablet. The screen was cracked, but it still worked. "We have maybe 2 hours of fighting left. Then we're out." Jake nodded. He had known this day would come. The aliens were too strong, too many. Humans had fought hard, but it wasn't enough. The Cytherians wanted Earth for themselves. They saw humans as bugs to be stepped on. "Ryan, any word from other groups?" Jake asked. Ryan Hayes shook his head. His radio had been quiet for days. "Nothing, sir. I think we're the last ones. The last ones." Jake thought about that. Somewhere behind them was a metal door in the ground. The old government had built something there long ago. But the door was locked, and nobody knew what was inside. Jake's grandfather had told him stories about it, but stories didn't help now. Scream came from their left side. 3 aliens had broken through their defenses. They moved fast, their 6 legs carrying them like spiders. Their weapons fired blue light that burned through anything. "Lisa, get down." Jake yelled Dot. She dove behind cover just as a blue beam cut through the air where she had been standing. The beam hit the wall behind her and melted a hole clean through. Jake aimed his rifle and fired. The bullet hit the first alien in the head, but its armor was too thick. The alien turned toward him, its red eyes glowing with hate. More aliens poured into their camp. Jake's people fought back, but they were tired and running low on bullets. One by one, his soldiers fell. Danny tried to help the wounded, but there were too many. "Commander!" Amy screamed. An alien had grabbed her leg with one of its claws. She shot at it with her pistol, but the bullets bounced off. Jake ran toward her, but another alien blocked his path. This one was bigger than the others. It stood 8 feet tall and carried a weapon that hummed with power. Jake rolled to the side as it fired. The ground where he had been standing turned to glass from the heat. Lisa was still working on the heat. Defense gun. If she could get it running, maybe they had a chance. But she needed time, and time was running out. "Cover, Lisa." Jake shouted to his remaining soldiers, but there were only 5 of them left now. 5 humans against 100 aliens. The math was simple. They were going to die. The big alien raised its weapon again. This time it aimed at Lisa. She was focused on her work and didn't see it coming. Jake saw the alien's finger tighten on the trigger. He didn't think. He just moved. Jake threw himself between Lisa and the alien weapon. The blue beam hit him in the chest and burned through his body armor. Pain like fire spread through him, but he stayed standing. "Jake!" Lisa screamed. He turned to look at her. Blood was coming from his mouth now. "Keep working," he said. "Don't stop." The alien fired again. This time the beam hit Jake in the shoulder and spun him around. He fell to his knees, but kept his rifle up. With his last bit of strength, he emptied his clip into the alien's face. The creature fell backward, finally dead. But more aliens were coming. Jake could hear their feet clicking on the concrete. His vision was getting dark around the edges. He was dying, and he knew it. Lisa knelt beside him. Tears ran down her dirty face. "You saved me," she said. "Had to," Jake whispered. His voice was getting weak. "You're the smart one. You'll figure something out." He tried to say more, but no words came. His blood was spreading on the ground beneath him. Some of it ran toward the metal door in the ground, the one that had been locked for so long. As Jake's eyes closed for the last time, his blood touched a small glass panel next to the door. The panel glowed green for just a second. Then everything went quiet. Deep underground, machines that had been sleeping for 200 years began to wake up. Lights came on in dark hallways. Computers started running programs that had been waiting for this moment. Lisa held Jake's body and cried. She didn't see the green light or hear the machines starting up below. She only knew that the last good man on Earth was dead, and the aliens were still coming. But something had changed. Something important. In the darkness below, 5 pods filled. With sleeping soldiers began to warm up for the first time in centuries. Earth's greatest secret was about to be revealed. The war was not over yet. Lisa Carter wiped tears from her eyes and looked around. The aliens had stopped attacking. They stood in a circle around the human camp, but they weren't shooting anymore. Something had made them curious. A low humming sound came from underground. The metal door was glowing now, with lines of blue light running along its edges. Lisa had never seen anything like it. "What's happening?" Danny Brooks asked. He was still holding bandages, but all the wounded were either healed or dead. "I don't know," Lisa said. She stood up slowly, still holding Jake's rifle. The aliens watched her but didn't move. The humming got louder. Then, with a sound like thunder, the heavy door began to slide open. Air rushed out from below, carrying the smell of clean metal and something else. Something like medicine. Amy Stone grabbed her tablet and pointed it at the opening. "I'm getting massive energy readings down there. Whatever this is, it's been running on its own power for a long time." More aliens arrived, but they stayed back. Their red eyes stared at the opening door. Even they seemed afraid of what might be inside. The door finished opening with a loud clank. Below was a set of metal, stairs leading down into bright white light. Lisa could see hallways stretching in different directions. "Should we go down?" Ryan Hayes asked. His radio was crackling with strange signals now. Lisa looked at Jake's body one more time. His blood had dried on the glass panel next to the door. Somehow, his death had opened whatever this place was. "We don't have much choice," she said. "The aliens will kill us if we stay here." She started down the stairs first. The metal was clean and new-looking, like it had just been built. But Lisa knew this place was old. Very old. The walls were covered with screens, showing numbers and charts she didn't understand. Everything was white and silver, like a hospital. From the future, their footsteps echoed in the empty halls. "Look at this," Amy said, pointing at a sign on the wall. It said, "Project Ghost, authorized personnel only," in big red letters. They walked deeper into the facility. Lisa counted 5 levels as they went down. Each level had more machines and more screens. Some showed maps of the world. Others showed numbers that kept changing. On the 5th level, they found a room full of glass tubes. The tubes were as tall as a person and filled with blue liquid. Inside each tube was a man or woman, floating like they were asleep. "Are they dead?" Danny asked, moving closer to one of the tubes. Lisa read the information on a screen next to the tube. "No, they're alive. This says they've been sleeping for 200 years. 200 years? Ryan couldn't believe it. That's impossible. But The screens didn't lie. Each tube had a name and a date. Captain Alex Turner, frozen 2187. Sergeant Katie Bell, frozen 2187. Lieutenant Ben Clark, frozen 2187. All the same year, Amy was looking at her tablet again. The power systems down here are incredible. They've been keeping these people alive all this time. Suddenly, one of the tubes began to glow brighter. The blue liquid started to drain away. Inside, a man began to move. His eyes opened, and he looked right at Lisa Dot. The tube opened with a hiss of air. The man stepped out, water dripping from his body. He was tall and strong, with short dark hair and scars on his arms. His eyes were sharp and alert, like he had just woken up from a good night's sleep instead of 2 centuries. Status report, he said in a clear, strong voice. Lisa just stared at him. She couldn't speak. The man looked around the room and saw the other humans. He noticed their dirty clothes, their weapons, the fear in their eyes. His expression changed. How long? He asked. How long what? Lisa finally managed to say, How long have I been asleep? What year is it? 2387, Amy said, reading from her tablet. The man nodded slowly. 200 years. Right on schedule. He walked to a wall panel and pressed his hand against it. Screens lit up all around the room, showing pictures of the destroyed world above. My God, he whispered, seeing the ruined cities and empty lands. They really did it. They killed everyone. Who are you? Lisa asked. The man turned to face her. Captain Alex Turner, Earth Defense Force Special Operations. And you are the reason I'm awake. More tubes began to glow and drain. One by one, 4 more people stepped out. 2 women and 2 men, all looking strong and ready for battle. Ghost Team is online, said one of the women. She had red hair and green eyes. I'm Major Rachel Green, commanding officer. Alex saluted. Her, Mom, situation appears to be as bad as predicted. Rachel looked at the screens showing the dead world above. Worse, I think. How many humans are left? Lisa found her voice again. We think we're the last ones. Maybe a few hundred people scattered around the world, but we're not sure. And the enemy? Asked another soldier, a man with blonde hair. Cytherians, Amy said. They've been hunting. U.S. for 30 years. They want Earth for themselves. The blonde man nodded. Lieutenant Ben Clark, xenobiology specialist. I studied these creatures before we went under. They're tough, but they can be beaten. A woman with black hair stepped forward. Sergeant Katie Bell, guerrilla warfare expert. How many aliens are we facing? Thousands, Ryan said. Maybe hundreds of thousands. They have ships in space and bases all over the planet. The last soldier, a man with a beard, smiled grimly. Steve Parker, demolitions. Sounds like we have our work cut out for us. Rachel Green looked at her team, then at the surviving humans. 200 years ago, when we first detected the Cytherian threat approaching Earth, our governments made a decision. They chose the best soldiers they could find and gave us the mission to save humanity if everything else failed. She pressed more buttons on the wall panel. New screens showed weapons, vehicles, and equipment stored deeper in the facility. We were enhanced with the best technology available. Our bodies are stronger and faster than normal humans. Our minds can process information at incredible speed. We carry weapons and tools that the enemy has never seen. Lisa felt hope for the first time in years. You can really fight them? Alex Turner picked up a strange-looking rifle from a wall rack. The weapon hummed with power when he touched it. We were built to fight them. Every one of us is worth 100 normal soldiers. But we're only 5 people, Katie Bell said. Even enhanced, We can't take on their entire army alone. Rachel nodded. That's why we need to be smart. We'll start small, hit their supply lines and communication centers. Make them afraid of the dark. She turned to Lisa and the other survivors. You know this world better than we do. You've been fighting them for years. We need your help. Lisa thought about Jake and all the other humans who had died. She thought about the aliens above, waiting to finish them off. Then she looked at these 5 soldiers who had slept for 2 centuries just to save her people. What do you need us to do? She asked. Rachel smiled for the first time. Help us show these aliens what happens when you wake up Earth's sleeping guardians. Deep in the facility, more machines came online. Weapons that had been waiting 200 years were finally ready for war. The real fight was about to begin. The weapons room was bigger than Lisa had imagined. Guns lined the walls from floor to ceiling. Some looked normal. Others seemed to come from science fiction movies. Alex Turner walked along the racks, touching different weapons like he was. Greeting old friends. Energy rifles, he explained to Lisa and her team. These bullets pass right through their shields. Their armor can't stop them either. Rachel Green stood at a large table, covered with maps and computer screens. The maps showed the whole world, with red dots marking alien positions and green dots showing possible human survivors. The situation is worse than we planned for, Rachel said. They control 99% of the planet. But that might work in our favor. How? Danny Brooks asked. He was still amazed by everything he was seeing. Katie Bell answered while checking a small, deadly-looking pistol. When you control everything, you get lazy. You stop watching for threats. That's when guerrilla fighters do their best work. Ben Clark was studying alien samples on another table. Dead Cytherian body parts floated in glass containers. I've been reviewing their biology while my systems came online. They're stronger than humans, but they have weaknesses we can exploit. What kind of weaknesses? Amy Stone asked, taking notes on her tablet. Their eyes are sensitive to certain light frequencies. Their hearing is too good. Loud noises at the right pitch can disorient them. And most importantly, they're not used to fighting an enemy that refuses to give up. Steve Parker laughed while loading explosive charges into his backpack. Wait until they meet humans who've been enhanced for war. They're going to get a big surprise. Rachel called everyone to the map table. First mission is reconnaissance. We need to see how they've changed our world and identify their key installations. She pointed to a red dot about 50 miles north of their position. This used to be Boston. Now it's one of their major supply depots. Alex, you'll take Lisa and investigate. Don't engage unless absolutely necessary. Alex nodded and picked up a rifle that seemed to change color as he held it. Adaptive camouflage weapons. They match whatever environment we're in. Lisa watched as he attached the rifle to his armor. The weapon seemed to blend into his body, becoming almost invisible. How is that possible? Nanotechnology, Ben explained. Microscopic machines that can change shape and color. We're carrying 200 years of human advancement that the aliens have never seen. Katie was teaching Amy and Ryan about advanced combat tactics. Forget everything you know about fighting. These aliens think in straight lines. We're going to think in circles, spirals, and dimensions they can't imagine. I want to come with you, Lisa told Alex as he prepared for the mission. Too dangerous, he replied. You're not enhanced like we are. But I know the land. I know how the aliens move and where they patrol. You need me. Rachel considered this. She's right. None of us have been awake for 30 years of war. Lisa, you'll guide Alex, but you follow his orders exactly. One mistake and you're both dead. An hour later, Lisa and Alex emerged from a hidden exit 2 miles from the main facility. The world above looked even worse in daylight. The sky was still red from distant fires. Nothing grew in the poisoned soil. Alex moved like a ghost across the broken landscape. His enhanced body made no sound, even when stepping on broken glass. Lisa tried to copy his movements, but she felt clumsy compared to him. "There," she whispered, pointing to a hill ahead. "Alien patrol route. They come through every 2 hours." Alex checked his watch. 40 minutes until the next patrol. That gives us time to reach the observation point. They climbed to the top of a ruined building that gave them a view of the old Boston area. What Lisa saw made her sick. The aliens had built a massive complex where the city used to be. Strange towers reached into the sky, connected by bridges that seemed to float in the air. "Command center," Alex said, studying the buildings through high-tech binoculars. "And that large structure is definitely a supply depot. Look at all the ships coming and going." Lisa counted at least 50 alien aircraft landing and taking off. Each one was the size of a building and carried enough weapons to destroy a town. "How many aliens do you think are down there?" she asked. Alex was quiet for a moment, calculating. "At least 10,000 in the main complex, maybe 50,000 in the surrounding area." Lisa's heart sank. That's more than all the humans left on Earth. "Numbers don't always win wars," Alex said. "Smart tactics do." He was recording everything with cameras built into his armor. The information would help Rachel plan their strategy. But as they watched, something unexpected happened. A group of aliens was bringing prisoners into the complex. Human prisoners. Lisa could see maybe 20 people in chains being led toward one of the towers. "There are survivors," she said excitedly. "We have to help them." Alex grabbed her arm as she started to move. "Not yet. We need a plan. They could be killed while we're making plans. And we'll definitely be killed if we attack without preparation. I know it's hard, but we have to be smart about this." Lisa watched the prisoners disappear into the alien building. She felt helpless, just like she had for the past 30 years. But now she also felt something new. Hope. "When we come back, we'll save them?" she asked. Alex smiled, and for a moment he looked less like a super soldier and more like a regular person. "When we come back, we'll save everyone." The patrol Alex had been expecting appeared right on schedule. 12 aliens moving in perfect formation across the wasteland. They were confident, careless. They had no idea they were being watched by humanity's most dangerous weapon. "Take notes," Alex whispered. "Movement patterns, reaction times, communication methods. Every detail matters." Lisa observed as the aliens passed below them. She noticed things she had never seen before. How they favored their right side when turning. How the leader always stayed exactly 6 feet from his troops. How they paused every few minutes to scan the area, but always in the same predictable pattern. "They're like machines," she realized. Exactly. And machines can be predicted. Predicted enemies can be defeated. On the way back to base, Alex showed Lisa more of his capabilities. When they encountered a lone alien scout, Alex moved so fast that Lisa barely saw him. One moment the alien was alive, the next it was dead, and Alex was hiding the body where it would never be found. "The war just changed," Alex told her as they returned to the facility. "They've been hunting scared, desperate humans for 30 years. Now they're going to face what humans can really do when we're prepared." Back at base, Rachel studied Alex's recordings while the other soldiers prepared their equipment. The maps on the table were covered with new marks showing enemy positions and weaknesses. "This is good intelligence," Rachel said. "Steve, how long would you need to destroy their main power plant?" Steve looked at the building schematics Alex had captured. "Give me Katie for backup and 30 minutes inside, and their whole complex goes dark. Ben, can you create a distraction that would draw their forces away from the prison?" Ben smiled wickedly. I can make them think they're under. Attacked by 1,000 soldiers when it's really just me and some very angry chemicals. Katie was already planning rescue routes on her tablet. Benny, how fast can you treat and move 20 injured prisoners? Give me the right supplies, and I can have them combat ready in an hour, Danny replied. Rachel looked around at her team. 200 years of sleep, and they were ready to go to war. Lisa, in your opinion, how long before the aliens realize we're not just another group of survivors? Lisa thought about the dead scout, about Alex's impossible speed and stealth. The moment we hit them, they'll know something has changed. Good. I want them to know. I want them to be afraid. Rachel's eyes were hard as steel. Tomorrow night, we remind the galaxy why you never count humans out of a fight. The sleeping soldiers were awake, and Earth's real war was about to begin. The attack began at midnight. Steve Parker's explosives lit up the alien complex like a second sun. The main power plant disappeared in a ball of fire that could be seen for miles. Suddenly, the entire enemy base went dark dot in the confusion that followed. Katie Bell and Alex Turner moved like shadows through the alien buildings. Their adaptive armor made them invisible in the darkness. The aliens stumbled around blind, while the humans could see everything through their enhanced vision. Prison tower, second floor. Alex whispered into his radio. I count 18 human prisoners, all alive. Katie was already cutting through the alien locks with a tool that seemed to melt metal. Security systems are down thanks to Steve's fireworks. We have maybe 10 minutes before they get emergency power online. The prisoners were in bad shape, but they were alive. Lisa had insisted on coming along to help move them, even though Rachel wanted her to stay back at base. When the freed humans saw her, they started crying with relief. Are you real? One woman asked, grabbing Lisa's arm. We thought we were the only ones left. You're safe now, Lisa told her. We're getting you out of here. Danny Brooks was waiting at the extraction point with medical supplies. He worked fast, treating wounds and giving the prisoners strength boosters that would help them walk. But the rescue was only part of the plan. While Alex and Katie saved the prisoners, Ben Clark was unleashing hell on the alien forces. His chemical weapons made it look like the complex was under attack from all sides. Explosions bloomed in patterns that suggested hundreds of human soldiers. The aliens panicked. They had never faced an organized attack before. For 30 years, they had only fought desperate survivors with crude weapons. Now they were dealing with military tactics they couldn't understand. Command, this is Ghost One, Alex reported as they carried the last prisoner to safety. Package secured, moving to Phase 2. Phase 2 was the real surprise. Ben had managed to hack into the alien communication network using technology they had never seen before. Every alien base on the planet suddenly heard the same message, broadcast in their own language. This is Major Rachel Green of the Earth Defense Force. Your easy war is over. We are coming for you. The message played on repeat while Ben uploaded a virus into their systems. The virus didn't destroy their computers, but it did something worse. It made the aliens see human soldiers everywhere. Their own sensors began reporting attacks that weren't happening. Within hours, alien forces across the globe were shooting at shadows and running from empty buildings. The psychological effect was devastating. Back at base, Rachel studied the results of their first strike. Casualty report? 0 human losses, Katie reported. We freed 18 prisoners, and they're all going to recover. Enemy losses unknown, but their entire command structure is in chaos. Intelligence reports coming in from around the world, Ryan Hayes announced. He had been monitoring alien communications all night. They're pulling forces back from forward positions. Some bases are going into full defensive mode. Lisa looked at the map showing green dots appearing where there had been only red before. Other human groups are coming out of hiding. They think you've started a real army. We have, Rachel said. Every human who refuses to give up is part of our army now. The weeks that followed became known as the Ghost War, the Five Enhanced. Soldiers struck at alien positions across the continent, appearing like spirits and vanishing before reinforcements could arrive. Each attack was perfectly planned and flawlessly executed. Alex Turner became a legend among the surviving humans. Stories spread of a soldier who could kill 10 aliens without making a sound, who could walk through their patrols like he was invisible. The aliens started calling him the Shadow in their reports. Katie Bell taught guerrilla tactics to human resistance groups. She showed them how to turn their environment into a weapon, how to make the aliens afraid of every shadow and every sound. Soon, alien patrols were reporting attacks by impossible numbers of human fighters. Ben Clark's greatest victory came when he captured an intact alien ship. Using his enhanced knowledge of xenobiology, he figured out how to fly it and access its computer systems. For the first time in 30 years, humans had eyes in the sky. Steve Parker's explosives grew more creative with each mission. He learned to make alien equipment explode using their own power sources. Entire bases would suddenly destroy themselves, leaving the aliens wondering if their own technology was turning against them. Meanwhile, Annie Brooks worked to heal not just bodies but spirits. The rescued humans were traumatized by decades of hiding and fear. He helped them remember what it meant to fight back, what it meant to hope. The alien response was predictable but desperate. They began executing human prisoners, hoping to draw the ghosts into traps. They destroyed human settlements, trying to eliminate any possible support for the resistance. But every atrocity only made the remaining humans more determined to fight. Lisa found herself becoming a leader among the survivors, coordinating between different groups and helping plan operations. They're scared, she told Rachel after monitoring alien communications for a week. Their commanders are arguing with each other. Some want to call for reinforcements from their home world. Let them call, Rachel replied. By the time help arrives, we'll be ready. The Ghost's biggest victory came when they infiltrated the alien orbital station. Alex and Katie, wearing captured alien armor, walked right into the facility that controlled all enemy operations on Earth. What they found changed everything. Rachel, you need to see this, Alex transmitted from orbit. They're not just occupying Earth. They're preparing to change it completely. The terraforming equipment was massive, designed to strip away Earth's atmosphere and replace it with something the aliens could breathe. The process would kill every remaining human in a matter of hours. How long until they activate it? Rachel asked. Ben, who was analyzing the data Alex had sent, went pale. According to these readings, they're planning to start in 3 days. The room went silent. 3 days to save their entire species. Can we stop it? Lisa asked. Rachel looked at her team. 5 enhanced soldiers against an orbital platform defended by thousands of aliens. The odds were impossible. We don't just stop it, Rachel said finally. We turn it against them. She called up schematics of the terraforming weapon on the main screen. Ben, is it possible to reverse the process? Make it target their ships instead of our atmosphere? Ben studied the data for several minutes. It's complicated, but yes. If we could get someone into the main control room and hold it long enough for me to reprogram the system. How long? Katie asked. 20 minutes, maybe 30 if I run into problems. Alex was still aboard the station, hiding in a maintenance area. The control room is heavily guarded. Getting in would be easy. Getting out alive would be the hard part. Lisa stood up suddenly. I'll do it. Everyone stared at her. Lisa, you're not enhanced, Rachel said gently. You wouldn't survive the first minute. but I know their patrol patterns better than anyone. I've been watching them for 30 years. And if someone has to die to save humanity, it should be someone who's already lost everything." The room was quiet for a long moment. Then Alex's voice came over the radio from orbit. "There might be another way, but we'd all have to go up there together. All or nothing." Rachel looked around at her team. The 5 greatest soldiers humanity had ever produced, awake after 2 centuries of sleep. They had been created for exactly this moment. "Ghost Team, prepare for final mission," she ordered. "We're going to save our world." Above them, the alien terraforming weapon hummed with deadly power, counting down to humanity's extinction. But the ghosts of Earth were coming, and they had 3 days to pull off the greatest military operation in human history. The final battle was about to begin. The captured alien ship lifted off from Earth's surface, with all 6 humans aboard. Lisa gripped her seat as they climbed toward the stars. She had never been in space before, and the view of her dying world below made her stomach turn. "Orbital. Station in sight," Alex reported from the pilot's seat. Learning to fly alien technology had taken him only a few hours. His enhanced mind absorbed information like a computer dot. The station was enormous, bigger than any city Lisa had ever seen. It hung in space like a metal moon, bristling with weapons and surrounded by smaller ships. Hundreds of aliens lived and worked inside, preparing to end all life on Earth. "Remember the plan," Rachel said over the comm system. "Ben gets to the control room and reprograms the terraforming weapon. The rest of us hold off their security forces for as long as possible." "How long do we have once they detect us?" Katie asked, checking her weapons one final time. "Maybe 5 minutes before they sound the alarm," Alex replied. "After that, every alien on the station will be hunting us." Steve Parker looked at his explosive charges with satisfaction. "I've got enough firepower here to blow holes in their hull. If we can't complete the mission, at least we can damage the station." Danny Brooks was the quietest of the group. As the medic, he knew his job would be to keep everyone alive long enough to finish their task. The odds were not in their favor. Lisa watched the station grow larger as they approached. What happens to us after we succeed? The question hung in the air. Everyone knew this was a one-way mission. Even if they managed to turn the weapon against the alien fleet, they would still be trapped on a station full of enemies. "We go home heroes," Rachel said simply. "That's enough." Their ship docked with the station without triggering any alarms. Alex had programmed it to send the right identification codes. As far as the aliens knew, this was just another routine supply delivery. The docking bay was empty, except for a few maintenance workers. Katie moved first, her rifle making soft whistling sounds as it fired. The alien workers fell without making a noise. "Clear," she whispered. They moved through the station's corridors like they had been born there. Ben's studies of alien architecture served them well. He knew exactly where the control room would be located. Up 3 levels, then straight 4. 200 meters, he guided them. The station was built for creatures larger than humans, so the ceilings were high and the hallways wide. This gave the team room to maneuver, but it also meant they would be exposed if they encountered large groups of enemies. They reached the first checkpoint without incident. 2 alien guards stood at attention beside a security door. Alex and Katie took them down simultaneously with their silent weapons. 4 minutes until patrol check-in, Rachel noted, watching her timer. "We need to move faster." The second level held more aliens, but they were all focused on their work. The terraforming process required constant monitoring, and none of the technicians expected an attack. Ben moved among them like death itself, his enhanced speed allowing him to eliminate targets before they could raise an alarm. "Control room is just ahead," Ben announced as they reached the 3rd level, but their luck ran out at the final checkpoint. A group of alien soldiers was changing shifts, and they saw the humans before Alex could stop them. Alarms began blaring throughout the station. "So much for stealth," Steve said, pulling out his larger weapons. Time for the direct approach. The battle that followed was like nothing Lisa had ever seen. The enhanced soldiers moved with impossible speed and precision. Their weapons cut through alien armor like paper, but there were so many enemies. "Ben, go!" Rachel shouted over the noise of battle. "We'll hold them here." Ben sprinted toward the control room while his teammates created a wall of destruction between him and the aliens. Lisa stayed close to Danny, helping him drag wounded team members to cover. Inside the control room, Ben found the terraforming controls. The alien computer systems were complex, but his enhanced mind began to understand them. He had to work fast. The weapon was already charging for its final sequence. 15 minutes until they fire, Ben announced over the radio. "I need more time to reverse the targeting." Outside the control room, the battle was getting worse. More aliens poured into the corridor, forcing the humans back step by step. Alex had taken a hit to his shoulder, but kept fighting. Katie was down to her last ammunition clip. "Steve, we need a distraction," Rachel ordered. Steve smiled grimly and pulled out his biggest explosive charge. This should get their attention. He threw it down the hallway toward the approaching aliens. The explosion shook the entire station and created a wall of fire that stopped the enemy advance, but it also damaged the corridor. Now they were trapped between the control room and empty space. Lisa could see stars through the holes Steve's bomb had torn in the hull. "Ben, status report," Rachel called. "Almost there. The targeting system is fighting me, but I'm breaking through their security." Danny was working frantically to keep Alex conscious. The enhanced soldier had lost a lot of blood, but his body was already starting to heal itself. "He'll be okay," Danny reported, "but he needs rest." "No rest until this is finished," Alex said, forcing himself to stand. He picked up his rifle. Again, just as another wave of aliens appeared. These new enemies were different. Bigger, stronger, wearing heavier armor. Elite troops sent to stop the humans at any cost. Their weapons fired bolts of energy that melted through the walls. "Elite guards," Katie identified. "They're the station commander's personal soldiers." The enhanced humans were incredible fighters, but even they had limits. They were outnumbered 50-1, running low on ammunition, and trapped in a damaged corridor. But they kept fighting because they knew Ben needed time. "Got it," Ben's voice came over the radio. "Terraforming weapon is reprogrammed. It's now targeting the alien fleet instead of Earth." But as he spoke, the control room door exploded inward. Alien soldiers rushed in, their weapons aimed at Ben. He dove behind a computer console as energy bolts burned the air where he had been. Standing, "Ben's in trouble." Lisa shouted that without thinking. She ran toward the control room. Danny tried to stop her, but she was already moving. She wasn't enhanced like the soldiers, but she was fast and small enough to slip past the aliens. She reached Ben just as an alien was about to shoot him. Lisa threw herself between them, and the energy bolt hit her instead of him. Pain exploded through her body, but she stayed conscious long enough to see Ben's fingers flying over the alien controls. "Activation sequence started," Ben announced. 60 seconds until the weapon fires." The aliens realized what was happening. Their own terraforming weapon was about to destroy their fleet. Panic spread through their ranks as they tried to reach the abort controls. "Alex, we need to get out." "Of here," Rachel called. But Alex was looking at the tactical display on his armor. The alien fleet was directly above them, in perfect position for the weapon to hit. If they left now, they might escape. But they might also give the aliens time to stop the sequence. "Someone has to stay," Alex said quietly. "Someone has to make Sure, the weapon fires. Lisa was dying from the energy bolt, but she could still speak. I'll stay, she whispered to Ben. You go with the others. No, Alex said firmly. This is my job. He looked at his team one last time. Rachel, who had led them perfectly. Katie, who had taught courage to the survivors. Steve, who had brought fire to their enemies. Danny, who had healed bodies and souls. Ben, who had turned alien technology against itself. Get them home, Alex told Rachel. Tell the world that humanity doesn't surrender. Rachel wanted to argue, but she knew Alex was right. Someone had to stay to protect the weapon's final sequence. And Alex Turner, the first ghost to awaken, was the right choice. 30 seconds. Ben called out. The team ran for their ship while Alex held the corridor. His enhanced body moved like lightning, cutting down aliens faster than they could replace them. But there were always more. As the others reached their ship, Alex's ammunition finally ran out. An alien warrior twice his size raised a massive weapon. Alex smiled and pulled out his last grenade. For humanity, he said, and detonated the explosive. Blast sealed the corridor and bought the precious seconds needed. As their ship pulled away from the station, the terraforming weapon fired. The beam that should have killed all life on Earth instead struck the alien fleet. Ship after ship exploded in brilliant flashes of light. The massive vessels that had orbited Earth for 30 years were destroyed in minutes. On the planet below, every surviving human saw the lights in the sky. They knew somehow that their long nightmare was finally over. The remaining aliens on the station tried to escape, but their ships were gone. Some surrendered. Others fought to the end. It didn't matter. The war was over, and humanity had won. Rachel and her surviving team returned to Earth as heroes. The rescued prisoners spread the word to every surviving human community. Earth's sleeping guardians had awakened and saved their world. In the years that followed, humans rebuilt their cities and cleaned their skies. Children were born who had never known the fear of alien hunters. The species that had almost been extinct began to dream of reaching the stars themselves. Lisa Carter recovered from her wounds and became one of the leaders of the new Earth government. She often stood at the memorial they built for Jake Morrison and Alex Turner, the